Hello, and welcome to the 6th episode, the 6th of 6 episode of Elevating Electronics. In the last video, we talked about cross-firing for the Otis touch tubes. In this video, we'll just go over a few extra little details that I might have left out in previous videos. Some neat little things that I would like for you to share. So first things first, if you guys haven't noticed, I've actually wired up a third colored tube base here, and that is just so I can show you that tri riser cross-firing does in fact work. So that's pretty cool. You can touch that one and it lights the rest up. You can touch the middle one and this one and it just works great. So yay! Anyway, so first things first to mention, just first little extra tidbit here. If you actually look at a hall call tube base, you'll actually notice that there's this little sort of piece of metal there that's right beside the tube. You might be actually wondering what that is. And if you actually have a tube, a faceplate, and you look at the back of the tube where the shield is, you'll notice there's this little tab here. And if you line it up with the actual base, you'll see it lines up with the tabs. So you might be wondering what that is. And some people have wrongly concluded that it must be for some sort of grounding purpose. It is most certainly not, because if it was, well, it'd be probably the worst grounding there is, because it connects right to the 120 volts AC, so there actually is no grounding on this thing. So the next time you see one of these panels out in the field, just think twice before actually touching the metal, because if it is, you're going to receive a nice shock. It's described in the original patents that the reason that's there is actually to help prevent accidental activation of the tube, because the tube is really sensitive, as you can see, as you've seen in the last few videos. It has activated a few times, and I mean, it works great like how the tubes are now, but out in the field there are multiple ways that these tubes could in turn wrongly activate. So these shields and their respective tabs help prevent, they create sort of a field around the actual tube that help prevent it from accidental touch buttonation, whatever that is. And you might also be wondering what the capacitor is for. Well, it gives another reason for that, although I'll be honest, it's kind of lackluster. It basically says that's there to help prevent accidental activation again. And if what I'm saying sounds kind of loose-ended and all that, that's because I am literally paraphrasing what they said in the actual patents. And if you guys want to learn more about how these tubes work, because I guarantee you, I don't know everything about how these tubes work. I'm not exactly sure how the cold cathode abilities of it work and all that. So if you guys want to learn more about that, I'll have links in the description. I'll have a Google Drive full of other sorts of little stuff, some schematics, stuff like that you guys can try out. So that'll be great for you guys. And before I head off, here are just a few little more tidbits. Some tubes had a taller glass than others. This, however, did not affect any characteristics of the tubes. The black paint on the 1C21 was specifically designed to prevent external fields from activating the tube. Not all tubes have the same voltage drop. Remember when replacing the tube to replace it with one that does have the same voltage drop. The RCA 1C21 is not the only tube that will work. Here are a few listed below that will work. Basically, if it's a Thyrotron cold cathode type, it will work. To ensure proper contact between the button and the tube, a spring is used which ensures that not only the coating does not get rubbed off, but allows for looser tolerances when building the tubes. This is an Otis dispatching controller. This controller is what actually controls the tubes. Now try figuring out what's wrong with it. Otis once made square Lexan buttons. These buttons are the exact same as square buttons used for the touch buttons, except you can actually press them in. You don't see these buttons very often in North America. This is what a patent talking about an elevator control scheme looks like. Oh my god, man, can you imagine being the guy who has to read this thing at the patent office? Like, holy shit. Well, I mean, who am I to say? I don't even know how long most patents are usually. Let me just check here. What the fuck? In the early 90s, Otis tried again to incorporate touch sensitiveness into its buttons. This time they used capacitive sensing in order to figure out when the button was touched. However, it did not do too well, as the accessibility disadvantages could not be overcome. Otis is trying again with its Compass Plus systems, but, I mean, we'll see how long that lasts. And so with that, that concludes this series. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like the video, specifically this one, and if you like the other ones, be sure to like those too. And if you guys learned something new today, then I hope you have learned not to touch live wires, because I hope that is the only thing, one of the most important things you gathered from here, especially with that fail there, right with the crossfiring. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you all next time.